Yeah.
So you've had a busy day, my friend. You've been bouncing around doing the Sports Center spots.
Yep.
You've been talking to all the players. You did the ribbon ceremony out front. You've had look at you carving out some time for us.
Listen,
How about that?
I love my West Palm guys. I mean, I love my West Palm guys.
Maddie.
You know, back in the day, I don't know if they told you this story, but back in the day, the studio's still in the same spot?
No, we moved it. City Place now.
Your City Place.
Rosemary Ave.
Yeah, because the old spot, I used to, when I was doing my golf podcast, Maddie and the Caddy, with Michael Collins, I would bike the Intercoastal from my condo down here right into the studios, park the bike outside, and just hang out at ESPN West Palm. I would just show up and be like, what the hell are you doing here?
Nothing's stopping you now, Matt, from doing the same thing.
The City Place is still closed.
Yeah, you could bring it down to City Place, and there's no problem there. But so give us a read. This is the first one. This is everybody's trying to you're racing to get this all together. There's an excitement. There's a buzz to it. You did the ribbon ceremony. There's a lot of formal processes to this. But from you, somebody who's going to be playing host to this great event, what's your take? What's your feel right now?
Lucky for you, I've got inside information.
Okay. Wow.
So I've got a lot of inside information.
Nobody knows what news to break, but this guy's got it.
Yes, Maddie, please bless us.
I can tell you, based on what happened last night, we had a dress rehearsal. Because, you want to go through it one more time for everybody
for
involved.
TV and everything.
For the TV show purpose of it. Even for the building. People think this is just a TV thing, but this is for the vendors and the arena and everybody getting on the same page. We got lucky enough to have all 6 players play last night.
Wow.
So both teams played last night in what you'll see tonight. I can tell you based on how they played, how they interacted, and how this was done, people are in for a hell of a show tonight. These guys, I'll tell you this. Wyndham hadn't played it a lot. And Shane Lowry, and Ludwig Oberg came out a little bit rusty, and New York got up on him 5-0.
Okay.
Shane pulls his guys aside. He says, guys, just win one hole. Win another hole. He's giving them a pep talk.
It's a timeout. It's a timeout.
Which, by the way,
time.
And you'll see that on the broadcast tonight, because if it happens, we'll show it.
Right.
Little by little, they start coming back. Wyndham in his microphone, because they're always mic'd. They'll be mic'd all night on the broadcast. You'll hear everything they say. He looked at Ricky Fowler. He's like, we figured it out. We got this. It was a great interaction. They came back and won 9-7.
And so you're talking to them during this process.
Yes, they have an earpiece
so
the whole time.
They got an earpiece with you as well.
Yes.
So you not only hear the banter between the players, but there's an external piece at play in Matt Barrie jumping in and out of the conversation.
They shot it back at you, I heard, during the ribbon ceremony.
Shane Lowry gave it back to me. Xander was giving it back to me a little bit, and that's the beauty of it. Because I'm going to be sitting there probably asking the same questions people at home were asking.
Right.
How did that happen? Why did you decide to do that? And they know that they got to give a good answer. And they know they're on TV. And so I think that's going to be one of the biggest compelling components of this whole thing is when the players understand that it's a television show and they buy into the television show, people are going to be fascinated by it.
Right, and that's Matt Barrie, of course. You can hear him over hosting Sports Center, doing college football Saturday shows, and, of course, hosting tonight the TGL, which is at 9 o'clock on ESPN. You're in the building. You're here with us. But you mentioned something interesting with Shane Lowry firing back at you. There's going to be a bit of banter. Yeah. And I'm sure as you go on in the season, you're going to get more and more close and understand the kinks of what gets in their head or not.
Yeah.
How are you going to – this is not something that a lot of broadcasters are used to.
Yeah.
Talking to players mid-match. And not only talking to that, but talking to them for the sake of entertainment.
That's right.
You're not doing this just to break down what you're doing here. But this is also to have some fun.
Right.
There's an entertainment aspect. Are you going to be bashing these guys a little bit? Are you
trying
to get into them?
And that's just it, because they're still competing. And it's going to be on me to find that window to know the players' nuances enough to where I can say, hey, I'm going to talk to Xander here. You'd be like, Xander, I mean,
it's like an MC almost, right?
I've been saying ringmaster or point guard.
Okay.
Where you're just point guarding the whole thing, because to your point, you've got to hit it right. You've got to pick the player at the right time.
You can get in the way quick, easily.
And that's less is more first time out. I told these guys today that were here during Sports Center, I'll never talk to them when they're standing over a shot, and I'll never talk to them when they're about ready to tee off. Now, theoretically, the broadcast is supposed to kill my audio when they're about to let things happen.
Sure.
But out of safety, I will never, ever be talking when the guys are getting ready to hit, just to make sure that they know that. But when they hit the shot, I'll say, Shane, what'd you make of that one? I'll ask him right away, And then you start getting a feel for which guys will play and which guys won't. And then, like anything, if there's a guy that you know just not willing to play along, he's not whatever.
Get him out of his shell.
That's
up to you.
Yeah, I know.
That's up to you. You got to get him out of his shell.
And who to stay. Like, there's going to be guys where you just got to stay away from.
They're going to be locked in, having a bad round. You got to stay away.
Like, we've got a couple of special guests up with me in the booth tonight, and I can't wait to do that. But one of those special guests is one of the more popular players in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's he going to be like when he's playing?
Right.
Does he understand that I'm going to have to get in his ear? And that's going to be, to me, one of the more fascinating components of this.
Are they going to play into it? Are they going to play into the side of –
we can use the term buy-in.
Okay, buy-in.
Because they have an opportunity, by the way. In a normal golf tournament, I mean, they're with their caddy walking and playing 18 holes. Mm-hmm. You don't get to see their personalities a lot. They can be TV stars in a matter of 3 weeks.
You think that's an aspect of this? Building these guys into television, it's more building a brand here. Because
I told 4 of them today. I said, you guys understand. And I said, and I go, you know this. You're marked up with sponsors everywhere. You understand the marketing aspect, but do you know that there's a difference between being a professional athlete star and a TV star? Mm-hmm. Because there's a huge difference. Right. These guys are the best at what they do in the world.
Right.
We've got the greatest player to ever swing a golf club playing in this league, and Rory McIlroy. They know how to be golf stars and pro athletes, but do they know how to be a television star?
And I feel like a lot of them got some experience with that.
Full swing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think these golfers are seeing how popular something like that is to where they're going to be able to buy in and then be really a part of this. Now, Matt, you've been around them a lot.
Yeah.
How competitive is this thing going to get tonight?
It's going to get competitive. Last night, I think in the rehearsal, they just wanted to come out and play the game, but they were giving each other a lot of putts. I know for certain they're not going to be given a lot tonight. They were just like, good. Let's move on. Let's just get in the rhythm. But look, like playoff positions going to be on the line of the season. Money's on the line. Bragging rights are on the line.
Right.
I mean, end of the day, and I say this to anybody, what do the golfers do? Do you know who these guys are? The second a club goes into the hand and they have to play something to win.
They're killers. Yeah.
Their DNA kicks in.
They're killers.
They're trained
shark in the water. Yeah, shark in the water.
They all do it differently, and that's what I can't wait to see.
So what's the biggest question for you tonight? You got there's definitely some questions. You've done the mock. You know what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
But in terms of what there's a ton of intrigue from the casual fan who's going to tune in tonight.
Yeah.
But for you, you've been around it. You know the ins and outs.
Yeah.
What is something that you're curious to see? All right, how is this going to work?
I am curious to see in-game strategy.
Right.
Something. Look, here's what they have timeouts. They can call timeout. They get 2 timeouts per session. How do they use their timeouts?
Are we going to judge their timeouts?
Are we going to judge
clock management?
And I will.
Clock management.
That's where I can
That's
be critical.
Early? In a hole 5, we're
right.
calling a timeout?
I said we did that happen, actually. And I said, wow, they had to burn a timeout early. That's
bizarre.
That will be one. The 40-second shot clock.
Yeah.
How that impacts them. Last night, Ricky was standing over a really big putt. They hadn't used any timeouts. And the shot clock's going down. The heartbeat, you got a heartbeat. Once it starts to count down, the crowd starts going 5, 4. You hear Xander go, should we call a timeout? Should we call a timeout? Ricky goes, no. And he putts as he's saying no. And people are counting down.
Wow.
So they're talking to each other mid-shot.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-shot.
Now that's
unheard of.
It's unheard of, number one. But that wasn't a practice. Like, how is this going to go down when it counts? And I think the last question I have is how competitive the match is going to be. Again, we went into, I think, the 13th hole last night, tied at 7 apiece. If we get that on TV tonight, that's good. And the match finished up on hole 14.
Yep.
And then after the match is finished, we continue playing because the first tiebreaker for playoffs is holes 1.